Act 5, Scene 1. Britain, the Roman camp. Enter Posthumus alone, wearing Roman garments and carrying a bloody cloth.
Yea, bloody cloth, I'll keep thee, for I wish thou shouldst be colored thus. You married ones, if each of you should take this course, how many must murder wives much better than themselves for rhyme but a little? Oh, Bassanio, every good servant does not all commands, no bond but to do just ones. Gods, if you should obtain vengeance on my faults, I never had lived to put on this. So had you saved the noble Imogen to repent, and struck me, wretch, more worth your vengeance. But, alack, you snatch some hence for little faults. That's love, to have them fall no more. You some permit to second ills with ills, each elder worse, and make them dread it, to the doer's thrift. But Imogen is your own, to your best wills, and make me blessed to obey. I am brought hither among the Italian gentry, and to fight against my lady's kingdom. 'Tis enough that, Britain, I have killed thy mistress. Peace, I'll give no wound to thee. Therefore, good heavens, hear patiently my purpose. I'll disrobe me of these Italian weeds and suit myself, as does a Briton peasant. So I'll fight against the part I come with. So I'll die for thee, O Imogen, even for whom my life is every breath a death. And thus, unknown, pitied nor hated, to the face of peril myself I'll dedicate. To me make men know more valor in me than my habits show. Gods, put the strength of the Ilianati in me. To shame the guise of the world, I will begin the fashion, less without nor within.
Act 5, Scene 2. Enter Lucius, Iachimo, and the Roman army at one door, and the Briton army at another. Leonatus Posthumus following a poor soldier. They march over and go out, then enter again in skirmish, Iachimo and Posthumus. He vanquisheth and disarmeth Iachimo, and then leaves him.
The heaviness and guilt within my bosom takes off my manhood. I have belied a lady, the princess of this country, and the air on it revengingly enfeebles me. Or could this call, very drudgeon natures have subdued me in my profession? Knighthoods and honors, born as I wear mine, are titles but of scorn. That thy gentry Britain go before this lout as he exceeds our lords, the odds is that we scarce are men. Ye are gods.
The battle continues. The Britons fly. Cymbeline is taken. Then enter to his rescue Belarius as Morgan, Guiderius as Polydor, and Avaragus as Cadwal.
Stand! Stand! We have the advantage of the ground. The lane is guarded. Nothing routs us but the villainy of our fears.
Stand! Stand and fight!
Enter Posthumus and seconds the Britons. They rescue Cymbeline and exit. Then enter Lucius, Iachimo, and Imogen as Fideli.
Away, boy, from the troops, and save thyself, for friends kill friends, and the disorders such as war were hoodwinked.
'Tis their fresh supplies.
It is a day turned strangely, or betimes let's reinforce or fly.
Act 5, Scene 3. Enter Posthumus and a Briton lord. Camest thou from where they made the stand?
I did, though you, it seems, come from the flyers.
Aye.
No blame to you, sir, for all was lost, but the heavens fought. The king himself, of his wings destitute, the army broken, but the backs of Britain seen, all flying through a straight lane. The enemy full-hearted, lolling the tongue with slaughtering, have work more plentiful than tools to do, struck down, some mortally, some slightly touched, some falling merely through fear, for the straight pass was damned, with dead men hurt behind and cowards living to die with lengthened shame.
Where was this lane?
Close by the battle, ditched and walled with turf, which gave advantage to an ancient soldier, an honest one, I warrant, who deserved so long a breeding as his white beard came to, in doing for this first country. Athwart the lane, he with two striplings, lads more like to run the country base than to commit such slaughter, with faces fit for masks, or rather fairer than those for preservation, caste, or shame, made good the passage, cried to those that fled, Our Britons' hearts die flying, not our men. The darkness fleet souls that fly backward. Stand, or we are Romans, and will give you that like beast which you shun beastly, and may save, but to look back and frown. Stand, stand! These 3,000, confident in act as many, were 3 performers of the file when all the rest are nothing. With this word, stand, accommodated by the place, more charming with their own noblesse, which could have turned a distaff to a lance, gilded, pale looks, part shame, part spirit renewed, that some turn coward, but by example, a sin in war, damned in the first beginners, began to look the way that they did, and to grin like lions upon the pikes of the hunters. Then began a stop of the chaser, a retire, anon, a rout, confusion thick. Forthwith they fly, chickens the way which they stoop, eagles, slaves, the strides they victors made. And now our cowards, like fragments in hard voyages, became the life of the need. Having found the back door open of the unguarded hearts, heavens, how they wound! Some slain before, some dying, some their friends o'erborne of the former wave, 10 chased by one, are now each one the slaughterman of 20. Those that would die or e'er resist are grown the mortal bugs of the field.
This was strange chance, a narrow lane, an old man, and 2 boys.
Nay, do not wonder at it. You are made rather to wonder at the things you hear than to work any. Will you rhyme upon't, invented for a mockery? Here is one. 2 boys, an old man, twice a boy, Elaine, preserved the Britons was the Romans' bane.
Nay, be not angry, sir.
Lack, to what end? Who dares not stand his foe, I'll be his friend. For if he'll do as he is made to do, I know he'll quickly fly my friendship too. You have put me into rhyme.
Farewell, you're angry.
Still going? This is a lord. Oh, noble misery, to be in the field and ask, what news of me? Today, how many would have given their honors to have saved their carcasses, took heel to do't, and yet died too? I, in mine own woo charmed, could not find death where I did hear him groan, nor feel him where he struck. Being an ugly monster, 'tis strange he hides him in fresh cups, soft beds, sweet words, where hath more ministers than we that draw knives of the war. Well, I will find him, for being now a favourer to the Briton, no more a Briton. I have resumed again the part I came in. Fight I will no more, but yield me to the veriest hind that shall one touch my shoulder. Great the slaughter is here made by the Roman, great the answer be Britons must take. For me, my ransom's death. On either side I come to spend my breath, which neither here I'll keep nor bear again, but end it by some means for Imogen.
Great Jupiter be praised, Lucius is taken! 'Tis thought the old man and his sons were angels.
There was a 4th man in a silly habit that gave the affront with them.
So 'tis reported, but none of them can be found. Stand, who's there?
The Roman, who had not now been drooping here if seconds, had answered him.
Lay hands on him. A dog, a leg of Rome, shall not return to tell what crows have pecked here. He brags his service, as if he were of note. Bring him to the king.
Enter Cymbeline, attendants, Belarius as Morgan, Guiderius as Polydor, Avaragus as Cadwal, Pisanio, soldiers and Roman captives. The captains present Posthumus to Cymbeline, who delivers him over to a jailer. Act 5, Scene 4, a British prison. Enter Posthumus in chains and 2 jailers.
You shall not now be stolen. You have locks upon you, so graze as you find pasture.
Aye, or a stomach.
Most welcome bondage, for thou art a way, I think, to liberty. Yet am I better than one that's sick of the gout, since he had rather grown so in perpetuity than be cured by the sheer physician, death, who is the key to unbar these locks. My conscience, thou art fettered more than my shanks and wrists. You good gods, give me the penitent instrument to pick that bolt, then free forever. Is't enough I am sorry? So children temporal fathers do appease. Gods are more full of mercy. Must I repent? I cannot do it better than in gyves, desired more than constrained. To satisfy, if of my freedom 'tis the main part, take no stricter render of me than my all. If know you are more clement than vile men, who of their broken debtors take a third, a sixth, a tenth, letting them thrive again on their abatement. That's not my desire. For Imogen's dear life, take mine. And though 'tis not so dear, yet 'tis a life. You coined it. Between man and man they weighed not every stamp. Though light, take pieces for the figure's sake. You rather mine, being yours. And so, great powers, if you will take this audit, take this life, and cancel these cold bonds. Oh, Imogen, I'll speak to thee in silence.
Enter, as in an apparition, Caecilius Leonatus, father to Posthumus, an old man attired like a warrior, leading in his hand an ancient matron, his wife and mother to Posthumus. Then, after them follows the 2 young Leonati, brothers to Posthumus, with wounds as they died in the wars. They circle Posthumus round as he lies sleeping.
No more. Thou Thunder Master, show thy spite on mortal flies. With Mars fall out, with Juno chide, that thy adulteries, rates, and revenges. Hath my poor boy done aught but well, whose face I never saw? I died whilst in the womb he stayed, attending nature's law, whose father then, as men report, thou orphan's father art. Thou shouldst have been and yielded him from this earth-vexing smart.
Lucina lent not me her aid, but took me in my throes. That from me was Posthumus ripped, came crying mongst his foes, a thing of pity.
Great nature, like his ancestry, molded the stuff so fair that he deserved the praise of the world, as great as Caecilius is there.
When once he was mature for man, in Britain where he was, that could stand up his parallel, our fruitful object to be, in eye of Imogen, that best could deem his dignity.
With marriage, therefore, was he mocked, to be exiled and thrown from Leonati's seat and cast from her, his dearest one, sweet Imogen?
Why did you suffer Iachimo, slight thing of Italy, to taint his nobler heart and brain with needless jealousy, and to become the geck and scorn of others' villainy?
From stiller seats we came, our parrots and us twain, that striking in our country's cause fell bravely and were slain. Our fealty and tenonitis right with honor to maintain.
Ardiment, Posthumus, hath to Cymbeline performed. Then, Jupiter, thou king of gods, why hast thou thus adjourned? The graces for his merits due, being all to dolour turned.
Thy crystal window ope, look out! No longer exercise upon a valiant race thy harsh and potent injuries.
Since Jupiter our son is good, take off his miseries.
Here through thy marble mansion, help or we poor ghosts will cry to thee, shining synod of the rest, against thy deity.
Help, Jupiter, or we appeal and from thy justice fly.
No more, you petty spirits of region low, offend our hearing. Hush! How dare you ghosts accuse the Thunderer, whose bolt you know, sky-planted, batters all rebelling coasts? Poor shadows of Elysium, hence and rest upon your never-withering banks of flowers. Be not with mortal accidents oppressed. No care of yours it is. You know 'tis ours. Whom best I love, I cross to make my gift the more delayed. Delighted, be content. Your low-laid son, our Godhead, will uplift. His comforts thrive, his trials well are spent. Our jovial star reigned at his birth, and in our temple was he married. Rise and fade, he shall be lord of Lady Imogen, and happier much by his affliction made. This tablet lay upon his breast, wherein our pleasure his full fortune doth confine. And so, away! No further with your din, express impatience, lest you stir up mine. Mount, eagle, to my palace crystalline.
He came in thunder, his celestial breath was sulphurous to smell. The holy eagle stooped as to foot us. His ascension is more sweet than our blessed fields. His royal bird preens the immortal wing that close his beak, and when his god is pleased,
Thanks, Jupiter.
the marble pavement closes. He is entering his radiant roof. Away, and be the blessed. Let us with care perform his great behest.
Sleep. Thou hast been a grandsire and begot a father to me, and thou hast created a mother and 2 brothers. But, scorn, gone! They went hence so soon they were born. And so I am awake. For wretches that depend on greatness' favor dream as I have done, wake and find nothing. But alas, they swerve. Many dream not to find, neither deserve, and yet are steeped in favors. So am I that have this golden chance and not know why. What fairies haunt this ground? A book? Oh, a rare one. Be not, as is our fangled world, a garment nobler than that it covers. Let thy effects so follow to be most unlike our courtiers, as good as promise. When as a lion's whelp shall, to himself unknown, without seeking find, and be embraced by a piece of tender air, and when from a stately cedar shall be lopped branches which, being dead many years, shall after revive, be jointed to the old stock, and freshly grow, then shall Posthumus end his miseries, Britain be fortunate and flourish in peace and plenty. 'Tis still a dream, or else such stuff a madman tongue and brain not. Either both or nothing, or senseless speaking, or a speaking such as sense cannot untie. But what it is, the action of my life is like it, which I'll keep, if but for sympathy.
Come, sir. Are you ready for death?
Over roasted, rather, ready long ago.
Hanging is the word, sir. If you be ready for that, you are well cooked.
So, if I prove a good repast to the spectators, the dish pays the shot.
A heavy reckoning for you, sir, but the comfort is you shall be called to no more payments. Fear no more tavern bills, which are often the sadness of parting, as the procuring of mirth. You come and faint for want of meat, depart reeling with too much drink. Sorry that you have paid too much, and sorry that you are paid too much. Purse and brain both empty, the brain the heavier for being too light, the purse too light being drawn of heaviness. Oh, this contradiction you shall now be quit. The charity of a penny cord, it sums up thousands in a trice. You have no true debtor and creditor but it, of what past is and to come, the discharge. Your next, sir, is a pen, book, and counters, so the acquaintance follows.
I am merrier to die than thou art to live.
Indeed, sir, he that sleeps feels not the toothache. But a man that were to sleep your sleep, and a hangman to help him to bed, I think he would change places with his officer. For look you, sir, you know not which you shall go.
Yes, indeed do I, fellow.
Your death has eyes in its head, then. I have not seen him so pictured. You must either be directed by some that take upon them to know, or to take upon yourself that which I am sure you do not know, or jump the after-inquiry on your own peril. And how you shall speed in your journey's end, I think you'll never return to tell one.
I tell thee, fellow, there are none want eyes to direct them the way I am going, but such as wink and will not use them.
What an infinite mock is this, that a man should have the best use of eyes to see the way of blindness. I'm sure hanging's the way of thinking.
Knock off his manacles, bring your prisoner to the king.
Thou bringst good news. I am called to be made free.
I'll be hanged then.
Thou shalt be then freer than a jailer. No bolts for the dead.
Unless a man would marry a girl, those to beget young gibbets. I never saw one so prone. Yet on my conscience there are verier knaves desire to live, for all he be a Roman, and there be some of them too that die against their wills. So should I, if I were one. I would we were all of one mind, and one mind good. Oh, there were desolations of jailers and gallowses. I speak against my present profit, but my wish hath a performance in it.
Act 5, Scene 5. Cymbeline's Palace. Enter Cymbeline, Belarius as Morgan, Guiderius as Polydore, Avaragus as Cadwal, Pisanio, attendants, and lords.
Stand by my side, you whom the gods have made preservers of my throne. Woe is my heart that the poor soldier that so richly fought, whose rags shamed gilded arms, whose naked breast stepped before targes of proof, cannot be found. He shall be happy that can find him, if our grace can make him so.
I never saw such noble fury in so poor a thing, such precious deeds in one that promise naught but beggary and poor looks.
No tidings of him?
He hath been searched among the dead and living, but no trace of him.
My grief, I am the heir of his reward, which I will add to you, the liver, heart, and brain of Britain, by whom I grant she lives. Is now the time to ask of whence you are. Report it.
Sir, in Cambria are we born, and gentlemen. Further to boast were neither true nor modest, unless I add we are honest.
Bow your knees. Arise, my knights, for the battle. I create you companions to our person, and will fit you with dignities becoming your estates. There's business in these faces. Why so sadly greet you our victory? You look like Romans and not of the court of Britain.
Hail, great king. To sell your happiness, I must report the queen is dead.
Worse than a physician would this report become. But I consider by medicine life may be prolonged, yet death will seize the doctor too. How ended she?
With horror, madly dying like her life, which, being cruel to the world, concluded most cruel to herself. What she confessed I will report, so please you. These, her women, can trip me if I err, who with wet cheeks were present when she finished.
Prithee say.
First, she confessed she never loved you, only affected greatness got by you, not you. Married your royalty, was wife to your place, abhorred your person.
She alone knew this, and but she spoke it dying, I would not believe her lips in opening it. Proceed.
Your daughter, whom she bore in hand to love with such integrity, she did confess was as a scorpion to her sight, whose life, but that her flight prevented it, she had ta'en off by poison.
most delicate fiend, who is't can read a woman? Is there more?
More, sir, and worse. She did confess she had for you a mortal mineral, which being took, should by the minute feed on life, and lingering by inches waste you. In which time she purposed, by watching, weeping, tendance, kissing, to o'ercome with you her show, and in time, when she had fitted you with her craft, to work her son into the adoption of the crown. But failing of her end by this strange absence, grew shameless desperate, opened, in despite of heaven and men, her purposes. Repented the evil she hatched were not effected. So despairing, died.
Heard you all this, her woman?
We did, so please your highness.
Mine eyes were not in fault, for she was beautiful. Mine ears that heard her flattery, nor my heart that thought her like her seeming. I've been vicious to have mistrusted her. Yet, O my daughter, that it was folly in me, thou mayest say, and prove it in thy feeling. Heaven mend all. Thou comest not, Caius, now for tribute, that the Britons have raised out, though with the loss of many a bold one, whose kinsmen have made suit, that their good souls may be appeased with slaughter of you their captives, which ourself have granted. So think you of your estate?
Consider, sir, the chance of war. The day was yours by accident. Had it gone with us, we should not, when the blood was cool, have threatened our prisoners with the sword. But since gods will have it thus, that nothing but our lives may be called ransom, let it come. Suffice it. A Roman with a Roman's heart can suffer. Augustus lives to think on't, and so much for my peculiar care. But one thing only I will entreat. My boy, a Briton born, let him be ransomed. Never master had a page so kind, so duteous, diligent, so tender, over his occasions true, so feet so nursed-like. Let his virtue join with my request, which I'll make bold your highness cannot deny. He hath done no Briton harm, though he hath served a Roman. Save him, sir, and spare no blood beside.
I have surely seen him. His favour is familiar to me. Boy, thou hast looked thyself into my grace, and art mine own. I know not why, wherefore to say, live, boy, ne'er thank thy master. Live, and ask Cymbeline what boon thou wilt. Fitting my bounty and thy state, I'll give it, yea, though thou do demand a prisoner, the noblest tame.
I humbly thank your highness.
I do not bid thee beg my life, good lad, and yet I know thou wilt.
No, alack. There's other work in hand. I see a thing bitter to me as death. Your life, good master, must shuffle for itself.
Boy disdains me, he leaves me, scorns me. Briefly die their joys that place him on the truth of girls and boys. Why stands he so perplexed?
Wouldst thou, boy? I love thee more and more. Think more and more what's best to ask. Know'st him thou look'st on? Speak. Wilt have him live? Is he thy kin? Thy friend?
He is a Roman, no more kin to me than I to your highness, who, being born your vassal, am something nearer.
Wherefore iced him so?
I'll tell you, sir, in private, if you please to give me hearing.
Aye, with all my heart, and lend my best attention. What's thy name?
Fideli, sir.
Thou'rt my good youth, my page. I'll be thy master. Walk with me, speak freely.
Not this boy revived from death?
One sand another, not more resembles that sweet rosy lad who died and was Fideli. What think you?
Same dead thing alive.
Peace, see further. He eyes us not, forbear, creatures may be alike. Wert he, I am sure he would have spoke to us.
But we see him dead.
Be silent. Let's see further.
It is my mistress. Since she is living, let the time run on, to good or bad.
Come, stand thou by our side. Make thy demand aloud. Sir, step you forth. Give answer to this boy, and do it freely, or by our greatness and the grace of it, which is our honour, bitter torture shall winnow the truth from falsehood. On.
My boon is that this gentleman may render of whom he has this ring.
That to him.
Diamond upon your finger. Say how it came yours.
Thou torture me to leave unspoken, which to be spoke would torture thee.
How? Me?
I am glad to be constrained to utter that which torments me to conceal. By villainy I got this ring. 'Twas Leonatus' jewel, whom thou didst banish, and which more may grieve thee, as it doth me. A nobler sir ne'er lived twixt sky and ground. Thou hear more, my lord?
All that belongs to this.
That paragon, thy daughter, whom my heart drops blood and my false spirits quail to remember. Now give me leave, I faint.
My daughter? What of her? Renew thy strength. I had rather thou shouldst live while nature will, than die ere I hear more. Strive, man, and speak.
Upon a time, but unhappy was the clock that struck the hour. It was in Rome. Accursed the mansion where 'twas a feast. Would our viands had been poisoned, or at least those which I heaved to head. The good Posthumus, what should I say? He was too good to be where ill men are, and was the best of all amongst the rarest of good ones. Sitting sadly, hearing us praise our loves of Italy for beauty that made barren the swelled boast of him that best could speak, for feature laming the shrine of Venus, or straight pipe Minerva, postures beyond brief nature, for condition a shop of all the qualities that man loves woman for, besides that hook of wiving fairness which strikes the eye.
I stand on fire. Come to the point.
All too soon I shall, unless thou wouldst grieve quickly. This Posthumus, most like a noble lord in love, and one that had a royal lover, took his hint, and not dispraising whom we praised, therein he was as calm as virtue. He began his mistress' picture. By his tongue being made, and then a mind put in it, either our brags were cracked of kitchen trolls, or his description proved us unseeming sots.
Nay, nay, to the purpose.
Your daughter's chastity. There it begins. He spake of her as dying had hot dreams, and she alone were cold, whereat I, bade scruple of his praise, and wagered with him pieces of gold 'gainst this, which then he wore upon his honored fingers, to attain in suit the place of his bed, and win this ring by hers and mine adultery. The true knight, no lesser of her honor confident than I did truly find her, stakes this ring, and would so had it been a carbuncle of Phoebus' wheel, and might so safely had it been all the worth of his car. Away to Britain post I in this design. And well may you, sir, remember me at court, where I was taught of your chaste daughter the wide difference twixt amorous and villainous. Being thus quenched of hope, not longing, mine Italian brain 'gan in your duller Britain to operate most vilely. From my vantage, excellent. And to be brief, my practice so prevailed that I returned with similar proof enough to make the noble Leonatus mad. by wounding his belief in her renown with tokens thus and thus, averring notes of chamber hanging, pictures, and this bracelet. I got it. Nay, some marks of secret on her person that he could not but think her bond of chastity quite cracked. I have obtained the foreign. Whereupon, methinks I see him now.
Aye, so thou dost, Italian fiend. Aye, me, most credulous fool, egregious murderer, thief, anything that's due to all the villains past in being to come. Oh, give me cord, or knife, or poison, some upright justicer. Thou, king, send out for torturers ingenious. It is I that all the abhorred things of the earth amend by being worse than they. I am Posthumus, that killed thy daughter, villain-like, I lie, that caused a lesser villain than myself, a sacrilegious thief, to do. The temple of virtue was she, yea, and she herself. Spit and throw stones, cast mire upon me, set the dogs of the street to bay me. Every villain be called Posthumus Leonatus, and be villainy less than 'twas. Oh, Imogen, my queen, my life, my wife, oh, Imogen, Imogen, Imogen!
Peace, my lord, here!
Shalt have a play of this? Thou scornful page, there lie thy part.
Oh, gentlemen, help! Mine and your mistress! Oh, my lord Posthumus, you ne'er killed Imogen till now! Help! Help, mine honored lady!
Does the world go round?
How comes these staggers on me?
Wake, my mistress!
If this be so, the gods do mean to strike me to death with mortal joy.
How fares my mistress?
Oh, get thee from my sight! Thou givest me poison, dangerous fellow, hence! Breathe not where princes are.
The tune of Imogen?
Lady, the gods throw stones of sulphur on me if that box I gave you was not thought by me a precious thing. I had it from the queen.
New matter still.
It poisoned me.
Oh, gods! I left out one thing which the queen confessed, which must approve the honest. If Pisanio have, said she, given his mistress that confection which I gave him for cordial, she is served as I would serve a rat.
What's this, Cornelius?
The queen, sir, very oft importuned me to temper poisons for her, still pretending the satisfaction of her knowledge only in killing creatures vile as cats and dogs of no esteem. I, dreading that her purpose was of more danger, did compound for her a certain stuff which, being ta'en, would cease the present power of life, but in short time all offices of nature should again do their due functions. Have you ta'en of it?
Most like I did, for I was dead.
My boys, that was our error.
Sure is, Fideli.
Why did you throw your wedded lady from you? Think that you are upon a rock, and now throw me again.
Hang there like fruit, my soul, till the tree die.
How now, my flesh, my child? What makes thou me a dullard in this act? Wilt thou not speak to me?
Your blessing, sir.
Oh, you did love this youth. I blame you not. You had a motive for it.
My tears that fall prove holy water on thee. Imogen, thy mother's dead.
I'm sorry for it, my lord.
Oh, she was naught. And long of her it was that we meet her so strangely. But her son is gone. We know not how nor where.
My lord, now fear is from me, I'll speak truth. Lord Cloten, upon my lady's missing, came to me with his sword drawn, foamed at the mouth, and swore, if I discovered not which way she was gone, it was my instant death. By accident, I had feigned letter of my master's, then, in my pocket, which directed him to seek her on the mountains near to Milford, where, in a frenzy, in my master's garments, which he enforced from me, away he posts with unchaste purpose, and with oath to violate my lady's honor. What became of him, I further know not.
Again, the story. I slew him there.
Marry, the gods forfend. I would not thy good deeds should from my lips pluck a hard sentence. Prithee, valiant youth, deny it again.
I have spoke it, and I did it.
He was a prince.
A most uncivil one. The wrongings he did me were nothing prince-like. He did provoke me with language that have made me spurn the sea, if it could so roar to me. I cut off's head, and am right glad he is not standing here to tell this tale of mine.
I am sorry for thee. By thine own tongue thou art condemned and must endure our law. Thou art dead.
That headless man I thought had been my lord.
Bind the offender and take him from our presence.
Stay, Sir King. This man is better than the man he slew, as well descended as thyself, and hath more of thee merited than a band of Clotons had ever scare for. Let his arms alone. They were not born for bondage.
Why, old soldier, wilt thou undo the work thou art unpaid for by tasting of our wrath? How of descent as good as we?
Yet he spake too far.
And thou shalt die for it.
We will die all three, but I will prove that two are as good as I have given out him. My sons, I must for mine own part unfold a dangerous speech, though aptly well for you.
Your danger's ours.
Our good his.
Have at it then. By leave. Thou hadst, great king, a subject who was called Belarius.
What of him? He is a banished traitor.
He it is that hath assumed this age, indeed a banished man. I know not how a traitor.
Take him hence. The whole world shall not save him.
Not too hot. First pay me for the nursing of thy sons, and let it be confiscate all so soon as I have received it.
Nursing of my sons?
I am too blunt and saucy. Here's my need. Ere I arise, I will prefer my sons, then spare not the old father. Mighty sir, these two young gentlemen that call me father and think they are my sons are none of mine. They are the issue of your loins, my liege, and blood of your begetting.
How? My issue?
So sure as you, your fathers, I, old Morgan, am that Belarius whom you sometimes banished. Your pleasure was my mere offense, my punish itself, and all my treason. That I suffered was all the harm I did. These gentle princes for such, and so they are, in 20 years have I trained up those hearts that I have as I could put into them. My breeding was, sir, as your highness knows, their nurse, willfully, whom for the theft I wedded, stole these children upon my banishment. I moved her to it, having received the punishment before for that which I did then. Beaten for loyalty, excited me to truth. Their dear loss, more of me, 'twas felt, more it shaped unto my endless need. But, gracious sir, here are your sons, and I must lose two of the sweetest companions in the world. The benediction of these covering heavens fall on their heads like you, for they are worthy to inlay heaven with stars.
Thou weep'st and speak'st. The service that you three have done is more unlike than this thou tell'st. I lost my children. If these be they, I know not how to wish a pair of worthier sons.
Be pleased a while. This gentleman who I call Polydor, most worthy prince as yours is true Guiderius. This gentleman, my Cadwal, Veragus, your younger princely son, he, sir, was lapped in a most curious mantle, wrought by the hand of his queen mother, which for more probation I can with ease produce.
Darius had upon his neck a mole, a sanguine star. It was a mark of wonder.
That is he, who hath upon him still that natural stamp. It was wise nature's end in the donation to be his evidence now.
What am I? A mother to the birth of three, ne'er mother rejoiced deliverance more. Blessed pray you be, that after this strange starting from your orbs, you may reign in them now. O Imogen, thou hast lost by this a kingdom.
No, my lord, I have got 2 worlds by it. Oh, my gentle brothers, have we thus met? Oh, never say hereafter, but I am truest speaker. You called me brother, when I was but your sister. I you brothers, when we were so indeed.
Did you e'er meet?
Aye, my good lord.
That first meeting loved, continued so until we thought he died.
By the queen's dram she swallowed.
Oh, rare instinct. What shall I hear all through? This fierce abridgment hath to its circumstantial branches which distinction should be rich in. Where, how you lived, and when you came to serve our Roman captive. How parted with your brothers, how first met them. Why fled you from the court, and whither? These, and your 3 motives to the battle, which I know not how much more should be demanded, and all the other dependencies from chance to chance, but nor the time nor place will serve our long interrogatories. See, Posthumus anchors upon Imogen, and she, like harmless lightning, throws her eye on him, her brothers me, her master, hitting each object with joy. The counterchange is severally in all. Let's quit this ground, and smoke the temple with our sacrifices. Thou art my brother, so will hold thee ever.
You are my father too, and did relieve me to see this gracious season.
All overjoyed, save these bonds, let them be joyful too, for they shall taste our comfort.
My good master, I will yet do you service.
Happy be you.
The forlorn soldier that so nobly fought, he would have well becomed this place and graced the thankings of a king.
I am, sir, the soldier that did company these 3 in poor beseeming. It was a fitment for the purpose I then followed. Then I was he. Speak, Iachimo. I had you down and might have made you finish.
I am down again. But now my heavy conscience sinks my knee as then your force did. Take that life, beseech you, which I so often owe, but your ring first. And here, the bracelet of the truest princess that ever swore her faith.
Kneel not to me. The power that I have on you is to spare you, the malice towards you to forgive you. Live and deal with others better.
Nobly doomed. We'll learn our freeness of a son-in-law. Pardon the world to all.
You hope us, sir, as you did mean indeed to be our brother. Joyed are we that you are.
Your servant, princes. Good my lord of Rome, call forth your soothsayer. As I slept, methought great Jupiter upon his eagle backed appeared to me, with other sprightly shows of mine own kindred. When I waked, I found this label on my bosom, whose containing is so from sense in hardness that I can make no collection of it. Let him show his skill in the construction.
Larmonus, here, my lord, read and declare the meaning. Whenas a lion's whelp shall, to himself unknown, without seeking find, and be embraced by a piece of tender air, and when from a stately cedar shall be lopped branches, being dead many years, shall after revive, to be jointed by the old stock and freshly grown, then shall Posthumus end his miseries, Britain be fortunate and flourish in peace and plenty. Thou, Leonatus, art the lion's whelp, the fit and apt construction of thy name being Leonatus doth import so much. The piece of tender air, thy virtuous daughter, which we call mollis aer and mollis ear. We term it mulier, which mulier I divine is the most constant wife, who even now answering the letter of the oracle, unknown to you, unsought, were clipped about with this most tender air.
Hath some seeming.
The lofty cedar, royal Cymbeline, personates thee, and thy lopped branches point to thy 2 sons forth, who, by Belarius stolen for many years, thought dead, are now revived, and to the majestic cedar joined, whose issue promises Britain peace and plenty.
Well, my peace we will begin, and Caius Lucius, although the victor, we submit to Caesar and to the Roman Empire, promising to pay our wonted tribute, from the which we were dissuaded by our wicked queen, whom heaven's injustice, both on her and hers, have laid most heavy hand.
The fingers of the powers above do tune the harmony of this. The vision which I have made known to Lucius ere the stroke of this yet scarce cold battle at this instant is fully accomplished. For the Roman eagle from south to west on wing soaring aloft lessened herself, and in the beams of the sun so vanished, which foreshadowed our princely eagle, the imperial Caesar, should again unite his favor with the radiant Cymbeline, which shines here in the west.
Lord we the gods, and let our crooked smokes climb to their nostrils from our blessed altars. Publish we this peace to all our subjects. Set we forward, let a Roman and a British ensign wave friendly together. So through Lud's town march, and in the temple of great Jupiter, our peace we'll ratify, seal it with feasts. Set on there, never was a war did cease, ere bloody hands were washed with such a peace.
Thank you for tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed our reading of William Shakespeare's Cymbeline. Let's welcome back our players from today: Jason Rennie, Martin Hillier, Christopher Carbo, Taylor Marr, Sasha Venn, Megan Wells, Ron Dorn, Cameron Prince, Chris Klein, Ariel McIntyre, and Leilani Toon. I'm Mary Carrick. Thank you again for tuning into Shakespeare 2020 Los Angeles, and join us next week when we present King Lear.